Good morning. You may have seen the little video that has been circulating online the last few weeks. It's a real video of a lawyer who came to a Zoom court proceeding, and yet his daughter had put a cat filter on his camera, and here is what happened.
Mr. Ponton, I believe you have a filter turned on in the video settings. You might want to
Can you hear me, Judge?
I can hear you. I think it's a filter.
It is, and I don't know how to remove it. I've got my assistant here. She's trying to, but I'm prepared to go forward with it. I'm here live. I'm not a cat.
I can see that.
His outward appearance was a cat, and there was nothing that he could do about it, and I think the judge was just so wonderfully patient with him. The other lawyer looks like he's kind of annoyed or impatient, but the judge was just so patient, and finally the guy bursts out, of course, I'm not a cat. And the judge said, yes, I can see that. But in fact, the judge couldn't see that. What the judge was seeing was the outward appearance of a cat appearing before him. And that brings up just a wonderful Bible story, and it is our Bible story for today. In 1 Samuel 16, it says, when they came, he looked on Eliab and thought, surely the Lord's anointed is now before the Lord. But the Lord said to Samuel, do not look on his appearance or on the height of his stature, because I have rejected him. For the Lord does not see as mortals see. They look on the outward appearance, but the Lord looks on the heart. Then Jesse called Abinadab and made him pass before Samuel, and he said, neither has the Lord chosen this one. Then Jesse made Shammah pass by, and he said, neither has the Lord chosen this one. Jesse made 7 of his sons pass before Samuel, and Samuel said to Jesse, the Lord has not chosen any of these. Samuel said to Jesse, are all of your sons here? And he said, well, there remains yet the youngest, but he is keeping the sheep. And Samuel said to Jesse, send and bring him, for we will not sit down until he comes here. He sent and brought him in. Now he was ruddy and had beautiful eyes and was handsome. The Lord said, rise and anoint him, for this is the one. Then Samuel took the horn of oil and anointed him in the presence of his brothers. And the Spirit of the Lord came mightily upon David from that day forward. Now, the NRSV here probably slightly mistranslates it when it says that David was handsome and all these other characteristics, because in fact there was nothing outwardly that recommended David to Samuel to be the new king. But God was looking on the inside, and God knew David had been born for this. God had created him for this, and now God was calling him to be the new king. His outward appearance looked kind of kitten-like. He looked like he couldn't be a king. His inner qualities that God had instilled upon him were there for the very purpose of being king. And we can look at this story as the story of 7 sons being rejected and 1 being called. But I want us to notice that that's only the outward appearance of this story. And we need to look deeper into the story as well to recognize that this is not the story of 7 being rejected and 1 being called. This is a story of 1 being called to be king, and he was the correct one, the one who was supposed to be king. But the other 7 were also called of God. They were called of God for different roles, and hopefully they accepted those roles and lived out those roles. And that reminds us on this day that God calls each one of us to a different role, maybe even a surprising one. A year ago today, I had no idea that one of the roles God was calling me to was to do a daily devotional using a camera and posting it online and all of that kind of thing. I'd never done that before, but that is a role I think God has called me to, and I'm trying to live it out. God did not call you, presumably, to that role, but God has called you. And I bet you have found ways in this last year to minister to people in ways that you haven't before, to be the people that God has called, or the person that God has called you to be. And so on this day, as we consider this story, let us consider so much of the rest of the Bible, particularly how much Paul in the New Testament talks about the fact that the church is a body, and it's made up of many, many members, but each member has to play its part. And so let me call you this day to live out your calling for this day, and your calling for your life. God looks on the inside, not only at what is there that you have been able to put in there, the strength that you have, but even more importantly, God looks on what God has put in there from your birth. And so I call you this day to listen to and to hear the call, not from me, but the call from God, and live that call out. And we can do that, of course, because God is with every one of us. Amen.